Hello, everybody. Welcome to another action-packed night of Dadman walking in college football, the 2022 SEC College Football Weekly. Yes, we started with a boomer there. Hey, got to. We got to get one out of the way, at least at first. But hey, you know, it's all for fun. We love it here. And y'all love me boomering. I know our guest loves it when I boomer. My Mrs. Dadman loves it when I boomer, so it wouldn't be a stream without a little bit of boomering, Dadman style. So, welcome to another wonderful Friday evening tonight. Normally we're on Thursdays, but tonight we have a special guest that we moved the night and the time around just to make it where he could help us tonight celebrate everything that's called football. And wait till he gets started, and he's going to talk about things that we call probably soccer. If we're lucky, we'll get a rugby lecture. But hey, that's all good. That is all good. Just a few notes. Later tonight, probably around 11 to midnight, I will be doing a late night Fortnite stream with a bunch of characters. We're going to keep the Friday night Fortnite streams going since Mark is unavailable this week. We'll do it over here. We'll be doing it on the YouTube channel tonight, where we usually do it. But I hope you can join us later tonight for that. Tomorrow morning, I will do a brief recap show of the picks. It may be recorded. It may be live. Sunday, we'll have a live recap show of the results of this week's action, where we'll talk about some highlights from the weekend, the fallout of the weekend's results, look at the polls, have a chance to just have an intimate conversation. If you're a fan of a team, you got questions, just have a general chat on Sunday. And there's another potential surprise stream on Sunday that could be coming. But as always, keep your eye on the Twitter, Dadman Walking 55, where you'll get the latest information as to what we will be doing as it comes available, and as I know when we're going to do it. But hey, with that, we'll look at everybody in the chat. We got the wonderful, the gracious, the beautiful, the lovely Mrs. Dadman Walking, who keeps everybody in line and keeps everything moving, and our buddy CJ. Hey CJ, glad to have you tonight. And of course, the comment I put. My problem is I have 200 years of pop culture stored in my brain. Oh, and he suffers from verbal diarrhea. Okay, well, that makes the Fortnite stream really, really, really interesting. You need that to have that kind of talk and pace with that. So, if you're new to the channel, if you're watching this on replay, or if you just happen to be passing through either on Twitch or YouTube, I'm Dadman Walking 55 on both channels. And we do more than just football while we're here. Howdy, Squeaka. We will have a great stream. It will be great. And we do some football talk, previews, reviews. We will also have a periodic show and tells with Dadman. If you go back and look on our channels, we have a couple of interesting videos already. One with a metal hurricane tracking chart. We have some LPs, some vinyl from the 1970s movie TV shows like Battlestar Galactica, Space 1999, and even from movies like Star Wars. So come and join us and watch those videos. They're still out there with a lot of good stuff for us. So without further ado, we got 5 people watching. So hey, like I said, if you're lurking, that's great too. Just leave if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a like. On our Twitch side, we've had a phenomenal growth recently, and glad for all that's going over there. So with that, we will now introduce this guy. Definitely a very unique individual that I've met along my time playing Fortnite and around streams. One of the brightest minds you'll find around on any topic, and he is an expert on almost anything. I think he will say not sports, but you know what? That's okay. He still knows how to play the game. He's got a wonderful sense of humor, and he has his own channel streaming that he does at times, and you know, is a real friend of the channel. He's been with us for at least over a year and causing trouble at times. And I was proud to say I call him a friend, or as I've said before, a son that I didn't have. Without further ado, I'm going to bring him on. So let's see if we get well, we're not monetized, but we'll see if we lose the channels after this. But hey, the one, the only, the great Esh.
Yo, how's it going, guys? Thanks for having me, and thank you for that glowing intro. I mean, I don't know about expert on everything, so we'll have to work on the definition of everything. But appreciate the warm intro, and thank you for having me. It's going to be a blast.
Well, it's been fun. It's been interesting, especially trying to coordinate schedules. It's you're a busy man
Oh
these
yeah.
days. You're
Oh
very,
yeah,
very busy.
definitely. Especially with like starting university recently, and my schedule just got a whole lot busier. But
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, CJ. I'm not the Pope. But hopefully, I'm the lesser known brown version, Pope Esh. Well, I'll be Pope. I'll be Pope Esh for this stream.
Oh man.
Look, why
Oh
we
my
just went.
god.
Oh, hey Esh.
There we went. We're gone. Oh my gosh, it wouldn't be a stream like that without Esh's comedy. So hey, but yeah,
Hell yeah.
but yeah, as always, and we also have the 5 hour time difference. So
Oh
you
yeah.
know, yeah.
It's like
How's the weather?
just past midnight for me.
Yeah. So how's the weather going on over there? Did y'all ever finally cool down?
Well, today it's been really rainy. Like
Mm.
I've been driving around for some stuff, and yeah, it's just been absolutely chucking it down. It's been ridiculous. But other than that, it's like it's been a lot colder over the last
Hmm.
few weeks. So that's good. I mean, we had like 40 Celsius back in our
Mm.
heat wave. I'll be like, what, 100 Fahrenheit for you? Um, so
Mm.
I'm not sure. Maybe 40. I don't know.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, it was really hot over the summer, like ridiculously hot, like averaging 30 Celsius. We had 1 week, like I said, it was like hit 40 Celsius. It was like it was record temperatures for us, basically.
Yep, 104 degrees Fahrenheit.
The annoying thing was because we're mostly a rainy, cold, gloomy country. All of our houses are designed to keep heat in.
Hmm.
So when we have heat waves, oh boy,
Yeah.
like I'm glad it's a lot colder now, and it's
Woo.
hoodie and joggers season, and
Yeah.
wrap it warm with like blankets on the sofa and binge watching through shows and stuff.
Well, that's good.
So
At least you can enjoy being inside. Then let me say a quick hi to Castle. Hey, Castle, glad you could stop by. Hopefully, you'll be able to lurk a little bit. But hey, yeah, good luck with that homework, though. We were just talking about universities
oh yeah.
and the work that's done. So, do you like university now, Ish?
Oh yeah, and it's great. It's getting a lot more intense, like because I'm doing electronic engineering, so there's a lot of maths involved, and now it's like the principles and the stuff that we're learning is getting more uh, m- is more in depth. So like we've just
Mm-hmm.
started doing AC circuits, like alternating current circuits. So doing like phase diagrams and doing phase shift calculations and all that stuff. It's with complex numbers. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's in like the electronics module. We've got a bunch of other modules and there's just straight up maths module. Like we have a computer engineering module. And like it was explained why it's necessary for our degree, but I still personally don't see it because all I really want to do is like circuit design and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's still really interesting nonetheless. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've been going to uni for like just over nearly a month and a half now, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, it's cool to hear that. I like math, but I never got into the science and the engineering
yeah,
stuff of it. So
yeah.
it's mechanics and stuff, even theoretical, just never got my thing. Give me math, let me do stats. That's why I love sports because I can hit you there with stats and numbers, but
Yeah.
anything where you have to design something, mine
Oh
would
yeah.
catch fire very easily, or just wouldn't work to begin with. So,
Be
oh,
blowing up some capacitors or LEDs or resistors.
exactly.
I'm guessing.
Well,
I did that once back in secondary school. We had like this huge like variable resistor, and I thought like dialing it to the other end was the lowest setting, so I cranked it all the way up and immediately blew an LED. And it
uh-huh.
was like smoking, and the whole class could smell it, and everyone just looked over, and I was like, "Oh boy."
Yep, yep. My dad back in the 70s, up until he passed away in '98, but all up and then
Mm.
he repaired TVs and
Oh
stuff like
yeah.
that. So back in the '70s, they always had those tubes. It was
Oh
so
yeah,
fun to
yeah,
get to play with the tubes on his tube tester and stuff. Of course, everybody kept telling me, "Don't break the tubes." I'm like, "Why? What's the big deal? I don't see anything." It's like, picture tubes and all had all those gases in them. It's like,
yeah.
but hey, if one of them broke, they're like, "Get away from it." I'm like, "What? Why?" But
Get
it's so
away from
funny.
it. Open the windows. Leave the
Yeah,
building for a bit.
it's funny how technology changes over times like that. It just back then everything was bulbs and all this other stuff.
Wow, misses.
Yes.
Look
What? Wow.
at her chuck in the chat.
Oh my gosh, I'm having a good conversation. See, let's see. Jake incoming. What does electronic engineer make for breakfast? Omelets. Oh, wow.
Omelets.
Wow. Wow. Omelets. That's a good one. Well, CJ,
Oh,
once dissected a frog, used his innards as strings, made him dance like a marionette. Made one girl
oh
puke.
wow.
I could see CJ doing that and really love that.
We we didn't touch frogs back in it when I was in secondary school. So
We
just
did.
for reference, secondary school is high
We
school for you
did
guys.
dissection. That formaldehyde
Yeah,
and all that smell. Oh man, that was something else.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
because I
mean,
wonder
we
how it
did.
bullied nerd in online classes.
I mean, we did. I do remember dissecting a pair of lungs, an eyeball once, but other than that, no frogs.
No frogs.
No,
Oh,
I
I
do
guess
remember
you're
in our
just resisting the bad jokes. So good for you. Yeah.
yeah. I was just gonna say I do remember in our biology class though. There's like a little fish tank in the corner, and it had a
Hmm.
couple of axolotls in it. So they were cute.
Well,
But
fetal pigs were a good one too.
what? Sorry,
The fetal pigs. Dissecting fetal
fetal
pigs. Yeah, like little
fetal.
piglets.
Oh.
That
Wow,
was something we
did they
did
let you do that?
back then. Yeah. Hey, we're talking the '80s, '70s,
Oh
'80s. So
damn.
hey, so hey, so anything else you got going on these days? How's your
No. The apart from uni, just just doing busy with the
hmm
family, and uh, gaming.
hmm
Doing a lot of gaming.
Yeah,
Well,
but
gaming when I can,
but
really.
you're not really streaming right now,
Oh
are you?
no! I just don't have the time to nowadays because like I would stream, but then like I would usually stream from about like I think it was like 8 o'clock onwards. But now
Hmm
I'm just like usually so tired from uni and doing other stuff.
hmm
And then I've got to get early nights because I've got like early starts in the morning
Right.
um, on campus. So, and also, par- I had no idea student parking in car parks would be such a nightmare. We've got like hundreds and we've got thousands of students, and this one tiny ass car park for
Yep.
students. Doesn't matter when your classes are. If you want to guarantee your parking space, you need to get to uni any time before 25 past 8 in the
Oh
morning
yeah.
to guarantee a parking space. It's
Yeah. I don't doubt that.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. Let me see. Squeaker, I didn't realize there were puns. I guess I'm so
Oh,
it flew over my head take care. We will, and of course, we'll say hi again to Castle again. And then CJ, how do you tell someone goes to university or not? People go to the university, call it uni. Yeah, it's uni. I like the term uni
uni, yeah.
better. But you talk about that about going so early in the day.
Oh yeah.
The accounting classes, that one professor that controlled it all,
Mm.
8 o'clock every morning. And you think of,
Jeez.
especially American University, you think of party, go to
Mm,
classes in the afternoon and evening, but nope, they had
yeah.
they're talking about the major classes, the ones with your with the ones in your field of study, and they were all
Yeah.
like 8, 9 o'clock. It just was
So how
torture.
long would your classes be until during the day?
Well,
But what would the latest you'd
back
finish?
then, you see, it's hard to judge it with nowadays because I think most universities have quit 5 days. They mostly go
Mm,
4 days, so they go longer. But back when I was in school, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, there were about 50 to 55 minute classes,
yeah.
and Tuesdays and Thursdays were about an hour 20.
Right.
So,
What time do you normally finish in a day?
no, per class. That would be per
No, no,
class.
I know, but like in the day, what time would you finish the day?
Jeez. Well, usually, like I said, starting so early, it would be done by noon,
Ah,
unless I had
okay.
a late afternoon class or an evening class.
Yeah.
So,
Ah, okay. So like for me, like we've got like 2 hour lectures in like a massive theater with like my maths, for
mhm,
example, math module, like that's like over 100 students in a lecture theater, and it's like a 2 hour lecture.
mhm,
But the good thing is they gave us like a little 5 10 minute break in the middle to
mhm,
that sort of like stand up and stretch your legs and stuff. So that's good. But like I mean, we've got 3 hour lab session on one of the days.
mhm,
So that's like in a workshop at computers. If you need to use the equipment, you use that to do some stuff. But
mhm.
yeah, I
It
mean,
is.
for us, the earliest classes will start is 9 a.m. and the latest they'll finish is 6 p.m.
Mm,
because there's like and it could be any time between then. Like I've got one where it's like I've got a class. On one day I've got classes from like 9 till 5. It's like a
mhm,
regular work day, but it's like 2 hour class, 1 hour break, 2 hour class, 1 hour break, 2 hour class.
mhm.
So it kind of like that. So
Yeah.
it's not too bad when you put it into perspective. The only thing is, they require a lot of self study, so
Mhm.
they want you to do like a lot of it on your own. I'm guessing that's just the new standard of teaching now. But it's like, come on, man! I pay all this money, and you want me to do half the work on my own back?
I know it is. It is something. Like you were
Yeah,
telling me, a lot of those self studies. I know youngest
yeah,
my oldest had a lot of self studies, but I wasn't ever designed for that because I
mm,
can't.
yeah.
You
Oh, me too.
it's hard to stay motivated. Let me say, how do you? Okay, we saw that one always, and then CJ said, "Dad, Mom, has Dadman ever called it uni?" No, it's okay. I actually like uni because it's shorter. So afternoon and evening classes. Yeah, I agree, CJ. I wanted it, but no, I didn't get it. And let me say a great, wonderful channel welcome to one of the sweetest, kindest human beings you'll see anywhere, Miss Daisy Blossom Flower Child, who worked her butt off, her and her son Liam, who has his own channel, last night on our Twitch side to get us to 50. And it really have shown a lot of love and support to not only me, but to our kid Ang. So thank you, Daisy. Glad you were able to get in here for a bit. So I hope you enjoy it. So Ash, any plans to return to streaming anytime soon, or is it just depend on how the university stuff works out?
It just depends on how university and other stuff works out. Like honestly, I want to. I do miss streaming. Like I miss interacting with you guys and everyone else. And but I guess we'll just have to wait and see what my schedule holds and how my workload is and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. I mean, I have considered just doing like little recordings, like doing stream style recordings, just making them an hour long, and then just like posting them to my channel and like
Yeah.
premiering it or whatever. But I mean, we'll see. I'll come up with something.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
uh, but who knows when that'll be?
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for CJ for putting that out there for me here. They do great stuff, great games, and they stream together. It's awfully wonderful to watch them together. Very nice and calming and peaceful. So great people, great people. All right, Ash. So before we get into all the football, the other stuff, like I told you,
Yeah.
we're going to move into our next section of the show where we actually go back and look at last week's football action.
Oh,
Okay.
we're doing the football talk. Hang
Oh
on.
yeah. Oh, by the way, there you
There we
go.
go. There we go. Let's
Deflated
go.
balls.
Patriots. I know it's national. We're doing college football, not national, but still, let's go Patriots.
It would not be a football stream or football talk without Ash and his Patriots. So
How many
hey,
people are going to leave the stream just for that?
you might get a few coming in. I know a few
Oh,
Patriots
really?
fans, so but yeah, so you never know. So well, let's start with it like our usual disclaimer here. Oh wait, hold on a second. Let me stop this for a second.
Raquel.
I cannot say for sportsing. Hey, Raquel, go back and listen. We're not all sportsing. We've talked a lot of non-sportsing too, but here to hit the metrics. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And you know, Raquel has also been so wonderful on streams to shout us out and support us. And Ash, I'll let you say something to her real quick.
Raquel, I love you. Hope you're doing well. And Satsvikal. And hope to talk to you soon.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Now I've hit the big time now when Raquel stops by. So hey, that's cool. Well, okay. Well, go back and we'll start. Well, with our normal disclaimer. And here you go, Ash. There you go. Thank you for being here.
Love you too, Raquel.
So, yeah, CJ tries to just derail us, but we go on. We march on. Normal disclaimer: we're not here for gambling. We're just friends talking sports, football. We'll pick some games later, but it's straight up winners, losers. We don't do points. And, like I said, we're just here to have some fun talking with each other. There's not, so I also say if you're going to try to use me to base your betting, you probably will lose your money very, very quickly. Not always effective. My luck does not always turn out to predictions or winning a lottery. So, hey, yes, exactly. And CJ says here, it's a test, Dadman. If you can put my relentless trolling, you can put up with anyone. Oh, well. Yeah, you ought to see Ash. When Ash gets into trolling, he does a fabulous job with it, too. So.
I'm sorry, what was that, Boomer?
There you go. That's the spirit. So, well, with that, we're going to move into the first game from last week that we want to look at is the Arkansas Razorbacks traveled to Utah to play the Brigham Young. Arkansas comes away with a win going away, 52-35. It marked the return of the quarterback KJ Jefferson for the Pigs that went 29 for 40 for 367 yards through the air with 5 touchdowns. Raheem Sanders carried the ball 15 times for 175 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Razorbacks, who amassed almost 700 yards of offense. BYU quarterback Jaron Hall was 26 of 41 passing for 356 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Puka Nakua for BYU had 8 catches for 141 yards with a touchdown, also ran the ball 6 times for 20 yards and scored 2 touchdowns. Cody Epps for BYU had 9 receptions for 125 yards receiving and a touchdown. So it's not Arkansas gets back on the winning streak after having lost 3 in a row from the last 3 games in the conference against Texas A&M, Alabama, and Mississippi State, and they also had a scare with Missouri State before that. So Arkansas's bounced back. Ash, you got any thoughts you want to say? Because this is the Arkansas Razorbacks, which are Pigs, and the BYU Cougars. Any thoughts? The numbers jump out at you?
So, I know what some of the 1 or 2 of these mean. I know what a first down is.
Okay.
I'm guessing total yards is just how much the players travel, or is it just specifically the quarterbacks? Is it?
No, it's the entire team. It's
the entire team.
It's
Okay.
passing yardage and rushing yardage.
And passing, I take it, is passing the ball between players.
Right. Forward passes.
And
yes. See, passing yardage equals receiving yardage. So basically, you have passing / receiving is one, and then rushing is another set of yardage.
So, what's rushing then? Just grabbing the ball and just charging at the the
basically, they hand you the ball and you run with it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Versus receiving is when the ball's thrown to you going forward.
Okay, and then what's a turnover?
Turnover is when you give the other team the ball when you're not supposed to. like you fumble it or they intercept it, a pass.
Oh, I see.
Those are
Got it.
turnovers.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll move on after that. We only had 6 games last week too, because we're into conference season, and there are fewer matchups. I really wish we could skip this game. It never happened. Oh my gosh, watching this game last week was annoying as a Gator fan. But LSU goes to Gainesville, wins for the 4th time in a row in this matchup, 45-35. LSU had 28 first downs to 19 for Florida, almost a little over 500 yards versus 400 for Florida. Time of possession was fairly even. Jaden Daniels, the quarterback for LSU, was 23 of 32 passing, 349 yards and 3 touchdowns. Also ran the ball 14 times for 44 yards, but also 3 touchdowns. He set a school record with 6 touchdowns in one game. Josh Williams for LSU ran the ball 14 times for 106 yards. Gator quarterback Anthony Richardson was 15 of 25 passing, 185 yards and a touchdown through the air, and 9 rushes for 109 yards and a touchdown, which is deceiving because one rush was for 81 yards for that touchdown. So he basically had 8 carries for 28 yards outside of that. Just a depressing game to watch as a Gator fan. I mean, had no defense. They couldn't stop LSU, who had struggled offensively throughout the year with a lot of opponents, but they did really well against the Gators. So, any thoughts, Ash?
Well, so is your scoring system just based on number of points per touchdown, or is it like points based on other things as well?
It's both. Basically, touchdowns are 6 points.
Right.
Extra points, when you kick the extra point, which is after the touchdown, is 1 point. Sometimes you can choose to go for what they call 2 points, which you run a regular offensive play. In that case, you'd run it from the 2 or 3 yard line, and if you convert it, like get it into the end zone on that one play, you get 2 points. There's also something called the field goals, which is a place kick, where you snap the ball, have to kick it, and with them rushing at you, you kick it between uprights. It's 3 points. There's also a thing where if you are tackled in your own end zone, not where you're going towards the score touchdown, but the end zone behind you, if you get tackled in it with the ball, or if the ball gets snapped and goes outside of your own end zone, it's called a safety, which is 2 points. So it's a variation of different ways to score. Yeah. And Daisy says Nebraska Cornhuskers was grandmother's college team. Yes. That's a team that had a lot of history, that has struggled recently and had to fire their coach this year.
Damn.
So it's I mean, they really have struggled. They used to be untouchable in the 70s and 80s and even the mid 90s, and then they just fell off. And it's really sad to see for a team with so much history like that. So it's and then of course the oldest rebelled and became a dog. So I'm like, no. But yeah, that's how the scoring works, Ash. So, you got any?
I guess it's similar to rugby in that fashion, where it's like you get a certain number of points for getting a touchdown. No, getting a try. Sorry,
yes.
For getting a try, and then there's a certain number of points for doing a kick in the. It'd be similar to your field goal, essentially.
Right.
Like for me, with our football or soccer.
There you go, Ash. America.
It's America. It's literally just you kick the ball in the goal. That's one goal. That's it. That's your score done. There's like other rules and stuff, but yeah,
exactly. So I forgot about that, but yeah, that's a good comparability there with the rugby with the try, and then they get the extra kick after that.
Yeah, I personally don't know too much about rugby, but I'd say like yes, they're American football and rugby are two different sports, so they're not really the same. But it's like I guess they're the most comparable sports in the way they're structured. I'm guessing.
Well, I'll tell you what, you don't ever question a rugby player's toughness.
Oh
That is a
no,
real sport. It's what
that's like one thing we joke about all the time. It's like
Mhm.
with American football, you guys got a lot of padding, you got crazy helmets, and in rugby, like there's like no padding. You just put on like a thick
Yeah.
rugby jersey, shorts, maybe a skull cap, and that's it. You just run at each other full force.
I know.
You get a
Yep.
cut, duct tape it up, keep playing.
Yes, we saw the duct tape once on a head injury. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
You
awesome.
just tape it up, keep playing.
Exactly. That's what a lot of American sports used to be, but
Yeah.
and occasionally
Like,
we get a scoreless game.
I suppose you guys can run at each other a bit harder because you know you have the padding there. But
Yeah.
I'm guessing even then, like there's a lot of like surprisingly a lot of head injuries considering you guys wear helmets.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's touch on that a little bit later when we get in the football section.
Yeah, cool.
I got some thoughts with the duct tape and the padding and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and the hard hits, because it'll be interesting comparing the rules now to like rugby and stuff. So, but yeah, that'll give us something good to talk about in that section. So we'll tease that for a little bit later. Speaking of the Georgia Bulldogs, we 55-0 over Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt came back to reality the last few weeks, getting trounced. Stetson Bennett, quarterback for the Dogs, 24-30 passing for 289 yards and 2 touchdowns. A.J. Swan, who'd been having a pretty decent year for the Commodores, 12-23 for 105 yards. Georgia scored 7 offensive touchdowns, 4 passing, 3 rushing in the game, and had the ball for 18 minutes longer than Vanderbilt. So, look, about 4 times as much in the way of yards. So that's a brutal route right there, pretty much.
Damn.
Exactly.
Like 0, like nothing at all.
Nothing. No. 10 first downs was very difficult too. So I mean, one game, one team was outclassed, and it was they had 3 first downs. So yeah,
they didn't even get 1 point. Like, come on! At this point, I'd give them 1 point just out of pity.
Yeah, you would like to get a sympathy field goal, something.
Yeah.
No, it's pretty bad. But see, Vanderbilt is also, well, I'll talk more about Vanderbilt when we tease this coming up week's games real quick. So we'll hold off on what I was going to say about Vanderbilt. The next game was a game that had a lot of important ramifications last week. Kentucky beats Mississippi State at home, 27-17. Kentucky still is got a lot of work to do to get up to Tennessee and Georgia.
Of course, Kentucky won. They're powered by world-class fried chicken.
There you go. That's why Ash is here, folks. He finds a way to make the analogy to chicken and everything else. Good.
Hell yeah, KFC. Let's go.
Absolutely. Hey, we've been to I need to find the pictures, and I'll do maybe a topic for a show and tell once. Is we actually visited the Colonel Sanders Museum up in Corbin, Kentucky, the original restaurant. So it was an interesting place to be.
I would so dress up for that. I'll just walk into the very first KFC and I'll be like the brown Colonel Sanders.
Oh, hey, I don't. Hey, whatever makes you feel good. Yes. Exactly.
I'd be like, I'm from your British Indian division.
Still serving chicken. Oh, that's hilarious. But yeah. Oh yeah, that was great. Now I love that. Yes, yeah, didn't even make a connection with Kentucky. But yeah, this game they stayed up with Georgia and Tennessee in the East. Mississippi State, though, critical loss, the second loss in the conference. Falls further behind Alabama and Ole Miss in the West, and we'll see what's coming up this week. You can see that Mississippi State really struggled offensively, and Kentucky had the ball, time of possession, almost 2-1 in the game. Will Levis, the Kentucky quarterback, was 17-23 passing for 230 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Will Rogers for Mississippi State was 25-37 passing for 203 yards, also a touchdown interception. What made a big difference in this game was Chris Rodriguez, the Kentucky running back, carried the ball 31 times for 197 yards and 2 touchdowns. Really one of the better backs in the league, but he's was sat out about the first 4 games this season because of a suspension. And Mississippi State only gained a big 22 yards running the ball on 10 carries. So they pretty much threw the ball the whole time. Didn't even really try to run the ball. So anything about this other than chicken jumping out at you, Ash?
Not really, no.
Okay.
I'm just craving KFC.
There you go. Hey, and they're all closed over there for you now. Hey,
Yeah.
Mrs., we can go get some KFC and send you pictures. So,
oh man, yeah, it's midnight for me.
Yeah, I know. Oh man. So then we got Ole Miss at all hosted Auburn. Ole Miss won by 2 touchdowns, 48-34. What's significant in this game is Auburn found some offense. They scored 34 points. They amassed about 500 yards. Time of possession was balanced. But Ole Miss, as last week, threw the ball more. This week, Ole Miss was back to almost running for 500 yards in the game. Jackson Dart for Ole Miss was 9 of 19 passing, 130 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. He rushed 14 times for 115 yards. Robbie Ashford, in about his 3rd start for Auburn, was 8 of 17 passing. Not good percentage-wise, but threw for 140 yards, so he had some good long completions. But he did commit 2 turnovers by throwing 2 interceptions. Tank Bigsby for Auburn ran the ball 20 times for 179 yards and 2 touchdowns. This is the first real breakout game that he's had this year. He was a preseason All-SEC team selection, but he seemed to get on track this week, and so did the Auburn offense, both in terms of yardage and points. Ole Miss had 3 running rushers. One was the quarterback and 2 running backs that all gained 100 or more yards on the ground. One 139, 136, and you just see the quarterback ran for 115 yards. So that's that game in a nutshell. Ash, you got anything just from looking at the stats, or?
It seems like it was a close-ish game. Like if you look at the time of possession, like Auburn has 1 minute, pretty much 1 minute more time possession, but it seems like Ole Miss's players are more accurate and maybe slightly faster. I barely know much about American football as it is, and I rarely have time to watch the games. But just looking at the stats, it does seem like it's a close game, and Ole Miss did have that slight edge.
Well, and one of the things to look at, if you always look to analyze football specifically, look at the turnovers line.
Yeah,
Auburn had 3 turnovers. Ole Miss only had 1. Those turnovers can turn a game really quickly because they could make it. That game could be closer, but the turnovers cause more of a separation.
Yeah,
that either team can't overcome, or they just run crazy at the end and make a lead bigger. But turnovers is a key factor to look at too. So, all right, shall we move on?
Hell yeah!
All right, the game of the week.
No, that's a close game.
This is the game of the week, and I was hoping my Tennessee viewers were here this week. I talked a little bit of this on Sunday because this was really the game of the year. This is one of the better games in a long, long time that I've had the pleasure to watch. And I don't like either one of these teams. But it was almost like watching Madden football at one point because it was up and down the field like easy touchdowns. It was crazy. It's not what you'd think it would be. And it definitely wasn't old school Alabama, Tennessee with their coaches from 40 years ago that never threw the ball and ran all the time. And it was like slugfest games. So, but both teams had nearly 600 yards of offense, both over and under 400 yards passing. Time of possession, Alabama had that ball a lot longer than Tennessee, which tells me that, and having watched it, Alabama had longer methodical drives that ate up clock, yet still scored. Whereas Tennessee hit the big quick plays for yardage and for touchdowns to score. So
it seems like those turnovers definitely helped.
It did
for Tennessee because they got 2 and Bama just got the 1. So it seems like those intercepting the balls and just rushing with those.
what is interesting with this is that Hendon Hooker, Tennessee's quarterback, he was 21 to 30 passing for 385 yards, 5 touchdowns, but he threw an interception. It was the first interception he's thrown in over 220 pass attempts, going back to last year. So they're 7-0. So we're talking about multiple games. He has not thrown an interception. Alabama's Bryce Young was 35 of 52 for 455 yards and 2 touchdowns. This was a stunner right here. Jalen Hyatt, Tennessee receiver, 6 catches. On 6 catches, 6 of those catches, he scored 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So only one touchdown. Let me stop real quick because you got a good friend in the chat.
Hey, Clubby, how's it going? Good to see you.
Oh man, yeah, always great
Been
to
too
see you,
long.
Clubby. Yeah, you want to say anything, Clubby, real quick? I'm sorry, I cut you off there.
Oh no, it's okay. Oh, it's good to see you, Clubby, and hopefully we get to stream together sometime soon. My schedule's super busy, but hopefully one day we'll be back on stream together.
I've had, in the meantime, since you've not streamed, I've actually had the good fortune to get on some streams with him, with the Mark D with C, especially on Sunday nights. And great guy, great people with him.
Oh,
Mark,
absolutely. Clubby and Mark is great.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an honor to be associated with them.
Miss you too, Clubby.
Let me come on too. Yeah. One of the best guys on YouTube, I think, too. So
absolutely.
And then of course CJ, congrats on the win last week. Dadman was cursing so much, it was hilarious. No, that was strategic profanity. I used it for a reason, for emphasis added only. So
I thought it was fervently emoting.
Well, it's fervently profanity in that case because it was
fervently
profanity.
Okay.
But yeah, it was just like there was one thing I had to say and I had to really emphasize it. So
okay,
yeah, it was great. but from a stats point, look at that: 6 catches, 5 of them were touchdowns for 207 yards. That just is amazing to have that many touchdowns on so few catches.
Yeah.
And Jahmyr Gibbs for Alabama running back had 24 carries for 103 yards, but he had 3 touchdowns. This game was really fascinating the way it came down. It was 49-49 with under a minute. Alabama drove it down, but Alabama's kicker missed a 50-yard field goal in the final minute, which then set up Tennessee with this is where it's important for time management to have a coach that watches their timeouts and does not panic. With about 35 seconds roughly, they ran 2 long pass plays in the middle of the field, called their timeouts immediately, and they were still able to get set up with 2 seconds left. And Tennessee's kicker, Chase McGrath, kicked the game-winning 40-yard field goal as time expired.
Damn.
Yep.
That's like one of those classic games you see in the films where it's like whatever sport they're playing, the timer ends, but the last player has thrown the ball or kicked the ball or like hit the hockey puck or whatever, and then the time goes out, and then everyone's just on their feet anxiously waiting, and then it goes in, they get the goal, get the touchdown, everyone's like, yeah, let's go.
Absolutely. Hey, I got more to say about this game real quick, but you've got to address this one for Klobby, because this started over on another channel with something here. Am I to understand that Esh is a Patriots fan?
Yes, I am. Let's go, Patriots. There is a reason for that.
Do you
I
remember
can go to
the
that
reason?
now if you want, or
go ahead.
Klobby's
here. Do it since Klobby's here in case he has to leave. Go ahead.
Okay, so the reason I'm a Patriots fan is because in secondary school, I went on a school trip to the US. We spent 5 days in Boston and 5 days in DC. And in Boston, we were partnering with our high school was partnering with the American high school, and we went to their school game. The high school game, the football game, and I watched the full game and sat down. Someone explained what first down was, like how the game works at basic level. So it was really in Boston where I first really learned about American football, and like I got to watch a full length game in person. And it's just the whole atmosphere and vibes. And also, I mean, come on, it's New England. I'm from Old England. And also there's that. So But yeah,
But it popped up on a stream one night, and was it because somebody said something, and I don't remember which channel it was, and then you just threw out the. I think it wasn't it with our Cincinnati friend, the Bengals, on Amanda's channel. Wasn't it
maybe.
something happened there, and then you just for the hell of it went with, "Hey Patriots."
Oh yeah.
That's,
Now I remember.
like, that's so
And
funny.
like
You got
I
so many
know,
glares on that one.
yeah, and like I know, there's all like the deflate gate and all that stuff, but like it doesn't matter to me because I'll still fly the Patriots flag, and it's more of like a personal supporting of the team rather than like because I don't fully know about the game and about all the ins and outs and all the rules. So for me, it's about more like the culture and where I first really grasped the sport. So it's more like that aspect for me.
Well, you also got this aspect too that can make it kind of fun, like in the '70s with the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, see, then the missus says, huddles when they all gather and bend over kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but yeah, that was interesting. Thanks for sharing that story, Ash.
No
That
worries.
was,
Yeah, I see. Just to bring up to one of
yeah,
Clubby's points, yeah, I know that they're the most successful team, but like for me, I like back when I was like when I picked Patriots as my team, it's like I also like the team colors, like blue and red and white. It's like striking colors, red, white, and blue. um, but yeah,
America.
America. Yeah, I guess you could say like, oh, the most he's a foreigner. He's picked the most successful team. He's basically just a glory supporter. Oi. But no, it's not quite like that. Yeah.
Well, I want to go back real quick. Uh, since you addressed that, if something comes up, we'll go back to. Uh, yes, this was a crazy game. Like I said, it's often that Bama runs out of luck. Yeah, they got a few calls going their way with some penalties called against Tennessee at times, but yeah, they lost. There's a viral video out there. I know it's on
Mm.
YouTube. Nick Saban, their coach, going crazy. Like, it was really funny to see uh, with that. But yes, it really was. It's one of the best games I've seen in quite a long, long time. The way it
Mm.
was back and forth, and the thing is, Tennessee broke out to a 28-10 lead. And
Oh,
then Alabama still came back and took a 35-34 lead, which is what I said. If you want to know more about what I said about the game, go back to watch our video this last Sunday when I talked a lot more about this game in detail. Tennessee fans have every right to be happy and confident going forward. They got a great coach who knows how to manage a game, does not panic. When you get a big lead like that and then the other team comes back, you can tend to panic. But also, like for
mm.
Alabama, they're a big dog. They've been around forever. They're not going anywhere. They got down 28-10. They didn't melt and fold up. They didn't fold up. They stayed. They rallied. They came back, and they fought it like a champion team does. And even though I'm getting on the Tennessee bandwagon, like I warned, if Tennessee can beat Georgia, win the East, they playing in a neutral site in Atlanta for the SEC championship could be a lot different playing in a neutral site than when you're playing in front of 100,000+ of your own
Mm.
fans. That game
Yeah.
was so crazy. It blessed my heart because I'm so tired of this. Nobody can rush the field stuff, and then you get fined. Blah 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 blah. Because that's what made college football. Fans rushing the field doing stuff. I know there's the liability and all that crap, but lawyers and stuff. But that's what made college football. Just the spontaneous events, people coming together, stuff like that. They even tore down a goalpost, which is a tradition in big upset. They tore down a goalpost, marched them out of
Bloody hell.
Neyland Stadium, and dumped them in the Tennessee River.
What? Oh my god.
It's America.
America.
Did you see Cobby's last message down there to you, Ash?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's good.
I know you
Yeah,
weren't saying Clubby.
yeah. And CJ just blames me all the time because it's so because I make a great scapegoat. I'm the host too. I can boomer it.
Hashtag blame the boomer.
Yes, exactly. but yeah, this was a hell of a game. If you ever get a chance to
Yeah.
watch it back, so it could be a good repeat if Tennessee can beat Georgia coming up. So that's it was a heck of a game. I will tell you that was. Um, Even if you didn't like football, even if you didn't
Mm.
know about football, Ash, I think if you watched it, you could really appreciate the game because
Mm.
of what had happened. It was one of those that even if you didn't know, there was so much action you had to get into it. Even I'll compare it to the Florida LSU game. That game
Yeah.
was so boring, even though it had 80 points, that it was just like dead. Maybe it's because my
Yeah.
team lost, but this game, both teams, it was quite amazing to watch it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me hit Claudia's point right. Meeting in the championship game, they better bring DBs. They couldn't cover exactly, Claudia. Both teams, Tennessee is the last few years has had trouble in the secondary, especially. But I was surprised that Alabama got the ball thrown on them so much. But hey, it did make for an exciting game because there's nothing like a 6-3 field goal fest. So, but hey, let me do this real quick here before we move into our next segment. As a result of last week's games, these are the current SEC standings that we have now. You can see in the East that Georgia and Tennessee are still atop, undefeated, no conference losses at 4-0 and 3-0. One game less played by Tennessee. So it's, as I said, Kentucky has an outside shot, but Kentucky already has lost twice already. They would need to beat both and then have the other teams lose a second game, which it's hard enough having one team. It's virtually impossible with two teams of the quality of Georgia to lose twice the rest of the season. Carolina's moved up, and of course, Florida is working its way down into the cellar with Vanderbilt and Missouri. Just frustrations in Gainesville. People tell me, family Gator friends tell me to be calm, be patient. I'm like, no, I mean, other schools get a quarterback, they're freshmen, they come out as all-stars, and we got a sophomore. And I'm not trying to put the blame on him. I'm not sure about this coaching staff. And as I said about with Tennessee, what I see for them going forward is they finally found a coach that wanted to be in Knoxville, wasn't looking for another job. He's solid. He played the game. He was a Heisman winning quarterback in college himself, and he knows how to play and how to perform at the top levels. And I think that does go a long way. Georgia also had Kirby Smart, another coach that played at the high levels, and does not panic in the big games. He did a bonehead call a couple of years ago, but still overall, he's become a really good coach. In the West, we have surprisingly Ole Miss leads the West for now, but all that's subject to change with the remaining games coming up, and of course, everybody has to beat Bama if they want to win the West. So Alabama still controls its own destiny, even with the one loss. The good thing in this case, Ash, is what happens is because of the East-West split. Alabama losing to a team in the East does not hurt them so bad because of the head-to-head matchups in the West bracket. So Bama, this was not a bad loss for Bama. It was not It was not bad in that sense that they don't lose a game on another team. Had they lost to Ole Miss, then there's more of a difference. So if you understand what I mean with that, it's about passing up teams in your own bracket.
Mm.
Okay. Well, let us go from that. Well, let's see. We're going to kind of talk about this is the segment where we usually talk about people's experience with football. So this week we're going to ask Ash, what kind of experience do you have with American football? We heard about the coming to America to and learn about the Patriots and how you follow them. What experience do you really have with American football?
So it's like I explained a bit earlier. So like I said, when I was on the high school trip, all I've really done is I've been to one high school game, which is cool because then I actually like I had someone like explain to me what the basic rules are, what a first down is, how a first down works, and like the scrum and the touchdown and all that stuff. And yeah, it was a cool atmosphere, and that was good. And then like I chose the Patriots because it's Boston's Massachusetts team, and um, so yeah, that's really bad. I've watched a few Patriots games on TV, but or like online, but that's mostly just clips. Like I don't think I'm not a huge fan of how long your games are.
Hmm.
Like they could be up to like I was told games can last anywhere between 2 to 5 hours.
Hmm.
So
The five
like
hours depends if it's really a lot of incomplete passes or if it goes to
yeah,
overtime. But yeah.
yeah. Yeah, but like it, like even then, like with our football,
Hmm.
it's it's mostly just and your standard game is 90 minutes, and overtime is um, usually on average no more than 5 minutes.
Right.
Like sometime you could go a bit longer, but yeah, it is standard 90 minutes. You're 45 minutes each for each half, then like a 15-minute break, or is it half an hour break? I can't remember. I haven't watched a regular game in a while. Like nowadays, I mostly just watch. I just sit and watch anime and play video games. So I'm a full blown nerd and weeb like that. But
Oh, good.
when it comes to sports, I don't really, I don't really delve into sports too much. But when I do, it's
Yeah.
usually just when the footy is on. Um, or like if the World Cup and like England is doing well, I'll watch, or like some other tournament and England's doing well, I will watch. I will go
Yeah.
out of my way to watch one of those games. Like there was a game where England was in the semi-finals.
Hmm.
I think it was the Euros. Was it the World Cup? Yeah, I think it was the Euros. And England went out in the semi-finals 2-1. And the crazy thing is, um, before the whole tournament started, I said England are going out in the semis 2-1.
Uh-huh. Yep.
So if I bet on that,
Yep.
I could have got like because no one was like everyone's like, oh, football's coming home, it's coming home, meaning England's gonna win and they're gonna bring the trophy home. But
Yeah. Makes you feel good when you get it right like that.
yeah, yeah, I was just like, oh man, I could have made a lot of money. Oh, I should have bet on that.
Ah, yeah, you should have.
But
Uh,
yeah,
well,
that was fun. But
let me do something real quick. Yeah, Daisy said what she's referring to is the California Golden Bears played at the
mm,
Colorado Buffaloes, who had
right.
not won a game this year, and promptly went out and Colorado got their first win against Cal. So, and CJ says, yeah, don't watch baseball, which I think the closest thing you have is cricket, but don't they have like 60 innings for cricket or something? Like it takes days to play it.
Oh yeah, yeah. The
Yeah.
test matches, yeah. It's like I think it's well the thing the standard I think it's 50 innings, and each inning is like five balls, like
Mhm.
five balls. So like those test matches can go on for days. Like usually like it's like, oh, I don't know, 10 innings per. I don't know. I haven't watched cricket in a
Right.
while. Like I've got cousins that are like so crazy into cricket. I mean, it's like they're religious about cricket. It's
Hmm.
crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's different cricket leagues. Yeah, there's the Ashes,
Hmm.
so that's the UK versus Australia, and then we've got like the Cricket World Cup and IPL, which is the Indian Premier League, with all those cricket teams,
Hmm.
um, and then there's other standard Test matches. But yeah, yeah.
Hmm. Well, that's yeah, you do have a fan out here with the World Cup. Daisy loves the World Cup, so hey.
The World Cup of which sport?
Oh, it's soccer or your football, you know.
Football.
Her dad went to Cal Berkeley on the track team. Oh, cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. So Ash, are there any other cool sports that you do like? I mean, we pretty much. I mean, we talked rugby. We talked about.
Mm.
Oh, here the missus just said the longest cricket game, longest cricket match was 9 days.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Like they usually get delayed even further if there's bad weather as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like for those, what they do, I don't know what they do for bad weather on your world, but for cricket, they come out with huge tarps and cover like the main area where the main the batting section.
Right.
They cover that area. I think a bit of the rest of it with this huge tarp, so it doesn't get like wet and slippy. So
Yeah.
with the person running for the ball, he or she won't slip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's similar to what they do for baseball fields, but they don't cover the grass. They cover the infield where the clay is, so it doesn't
Right,
turn to
yeah.
mud. And
Yeah.
that's usually what they do. Let me say hi, Wade. Glad you're here. And yes, Tennessee is going to have a very good year this year.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit more about them in a bit, but it's interesting to hear you say how that's how they protect the fields like that, because it's we've seen many baseball games here where the outside and the clay gets flooded in spots and it takes forever to drain. But
when
if it's grass, they leave it.
Yeah, but when it's raining for football, I don't know about lightning though. When it's raining for your American football, do they still keep playing, or do they stop it, wait for a bit, or do they have like retractable roofs?
Well,
so
it
that
depends. It depends on
the stadium.
It depends on your stadium, because Jerry's World, where the Cowboys play, I think has a retractable. Other stadiums have retractable roofs. Others don't. Basically, a lot of times they've gone to, if there's lightning within a 5-mile radius, they'll stop the game. Generally, if there's no lightning, you just play through it. In the old days of football, you just played through whatever. You just didn't stop. You just played. Forget everything else. But it's a different day. We talk about safety and stuff like that, and like you said earlier, with how the game's played, the padding and all. You would think they'd allow more contact, but they've gotten to where. With leading with your head or just hard hits on a quarterback or a receiver. One of the old things was if the receiver runs across the middle, you wanted to pummel the crap out of him. You want to knock his shoes off of him so he didn't keep coming across the middle and catch the ball. Or you wanted to beat the crap out of the quarterback legally, if he left the game because he got banged up, to affect the performance. But the rules changed so much to protect players to the point of, a lot of the old stuff you can't, illegal. I'm not talking about playing dirty. I'm just talking about legal, good, hard hits. Because you punish them and you want them to think twice. But that's kind of the difference. I remember that because you had brought that up about with the padding. So the padding can make it softer, but the rule changes have also made a lot of it softer. So anyway, hey, oh no, YouTube won't let Daisy post English.
Oh no.
Well, it's a thought that counts. I mean, that's sad. Won't let post the England flag, but we got a Patriot symbol. So anyway, but that's okay. That's okay. Yes, and the miss is right. We've had snow games where you can't see the field and the line markers because the snow is so thick. Yeah. It was. Oh, speaking of that, your Patriots, a game I remember from my childhood years back in the. I'd probably, if Clobby's still around, I know he would remember it. He may remember the year, but the Miami Dolphins were playing at the New England Patriots and in the snow, and I think it was tied, or the Dolphins might have been up by a point or two. The grounds crew actually took the little snow tractor out on the field and cleared a spot for the guy to place the kick to win the game. Which they shouldn't have done, because you got to kick off the ground, but they called a timeout. They hauled it out there. They cleared out the ground, and they got the kick off a clear spot. And that's when the Patriots rule bending started. But oh man, so you got any other comments with sports or anything in general, or just if we've covered a lot, so I mean,
I was thinking, like, I have been to a regular football game, but that
Mhm.
was like years and years ago. I barely remember it.
Yeah,
I just remember our team lost.
right.
The only regular football game I went to, we lost. So that
Yeah,
was
well,
years ago.
that usually happens, so that's the way
Yeah.
it goes. So, all right. Well, hey, we're going to move on into our next segment, which is I'm going to talk about some of the fallout from last week, and we're going to
Mm,
then preview next week's games and make our picks. Um,
yeah.
First, we're going to look at the results from last week and as they've reflected on in the AP Top 25, which that's what college football does is they have polls. There's another poll I'll show you in a second, but AP is a bunch of media writers. They rank them
Right.
and they assign points to how they rank. Say like Georgia got 31 first place votes, and then they got ranked in certain spots, and they combined a total of 1,530 points. So with this week, we have 6 SEC teams in the top 25. Georgia, number 1. Tennessee vaults up 3 spots to number 3 as a result of their win over Alabama. Alabama and Ole Miss are 6 and 7. And then it drops off to Kentucky at 19th and Mississippi State at 24th. So that is where the SEC is placing in the top 25. For your Big Ten people, Ohio State, Michigan are up at the top. Um, Clemson for the ACC is about the only threat out there, but Syracuse is 6-0 at number 14. So and Wake Forest is 5-1 at number 13 for the ACC.
Yeah.
And there's some Pac-10, Pac-12 teams in here. One surprise that last week it was Kansas. This week Tulane is number 25. And the missus made a joke about Tulane Sunday, so I must have missed that, but they snuck into the poll. And the coaches poll, very similar results. Georgia first, Tennessee fourth, Alabama, Ole Miss in the 6-7 area, and Kentucky and Mississippi State generally fall in the same area. And you'll notice a lot of similarity with the teams that are in the various positions here. But that tends to happen this time of year. When you get big changes is when teams lose. And upsets happen, but it was a fairly average week this week. So yeah,
Yeah.
let me see. Cheating. Oh yeah, Daisy must have seen the Miami New England game years ago. Yes, it was funny. They just drove the little tractor out there and cleaned him off a spot, and he kicked it. Oh god, the benefits of being old. In my case, so this week's games. Hey, here we go. All right, we got 5 games. It's a soft week in the conference this week. It's very, very laid back. There's not much going on. We're not even really going to talk about the first game because UT Martin is playing at Tennessee. That's a paycheck game. Tennessee, after that impressive win last week, should handle business very easily this week against UT Martin. Which brings us to Ole Miss, which is ranked 7th in the AP as at LSU. Some facts about this series, Ash.
Yeah.
LSU leads the series 64 wins to 41 losses and 4 ties.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and for your information, ties used to be around in college football until the mid-90s when they instituted an overtime rule, which pretty much each team gets the ball until somebody wins. So they even had 8 or 9 overtimes before it takes so long sometimes.
Jeez.
But LSU has won 9 of the last 12 meetings. Ole Miss's largest margin of victory is 37-3 back in 1963. LSU's largest margin of victory is 52-3 in 2011. The longest streak for Ole Miss is 6 games back in 1952 to 1957. The longest streak for LSU was 8 games, way back in the good old years of 1928 to 1937. So, hey, and I'm not done yet. Guess what? Their first meeting between these two schools in football was back in December of 1894.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Yep.
Jeez.
Wow. Yes. There's some of these really, really old matchups. That's what's fascinating with this.
That's before I was even born.
Just slightly before me, too. So, you know how that goes. So.
Oh, you said 1894. Oh, sorry.
Auburn went a long way back before that. This week, looking at Ole Miss coming in undefeated, they've had victories over Troy, Central Arkansas, Georgia Tech, Tulsa, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and Auburn. Some soft wins, but you know what? They're still undefeated. LSU has had wins over Southern, Mississippi State, New Mexico, Auburn, and Florida, with losses against FSU, which was a very close 1-point loss on a blocked extra point, and a blowout loss at home to Tennessee. So, anything in the stats other than 1894 that jump out at you? Or you,
Nope.
Okay. Well, we'll keep moving on because this is to me, this is the game of the week.
Right.
Vanderbilt at Missouri. If you go back and remember, neither one has won a game. They're both winless in the conference. Vanderbilt has not won a conference game in 2 years. So with 3 wins this year, there's hope that maybe they could win a conference game. And this is the game that people have been putting on the calendar, with Ole Miss, with Missouri in the bottom also. This is a series that's relatively new because Missouri joined the Southeastern Conference in 2012 and began league play. So Missouri leads us 9 wins, 4 losses with 1 tie. The Vanderbilt's largest margin of victory is a big 10-3 back in 2015. Missouri's largest margin of victory is 41-0 in 2020. Vanderbilt has a longest streak in this series of 2 games, but that 2-game winning streak spanned 54 years. Vanderbilt beat Missouri back in 1958. The next matchup was not till 2012, the year that Missouri joined the SEC, and it also was placed into the Eastern Division along with Vanderbilt, meaning that they would play every year. So that's a very long 2-game winning streak. Normally think back-to-back years, but that was interesting with that. Missouri's longest winning streak is 3 for 2016 to 2018. And the first game that they ever played was October 12th of 1895.
Oh, wow. 18, not 19.
1895, yes. Where Missouri won 16-0. They actually scored points back then, too.
You sound surprised.
Yeah, sometimes in the old days, either people beat them like 68-0, or it was like 0-0 ties. So it was a wild time back then. Vandy has had wins over Hawaii, Elon, and Northern Illinois, with losses to Wake Forest, Alabama, Ole Miss, and Georgia. Missouri is 2-4 with wins over Louisiana Tech and Abilene Christian, with losses to Kansas State, Auburn, Georgia, and Florida. So, and they could have won 3 of those games. In all seriousness, they fumbled into the end zone in overtime against Auburn and lost the game. They had the lead against the number 1 Georgia Bulldogs, which surprised everybody until the last 4 minutes of the game. And they kept turning the ball over against Florida and just, lost by 7 to the Gators. So that shows you how they could have gone from 2-4 to 5-1 very easily.
Yeah.
So it's a numbers thing. All right. Any comments? You can stop me whenever you want to. A lot of this is the boring statistical stuff, but
yeah, it's all right.
It's
nothing bad right now.
It's the stuff that gets me excited. Like your engineering and math, all this type of stuff, trend streaks I love. So, which brings us to Mississippi State at Alabama, number 24. The Dogs are on the road against number 6 Crimson Tide. Bama leads this series. It's such a balanced series, Esh. Alabama's won 84. Mississippi State's won 18 with 3 ties.
Wow.
Yeah. Current streak is Alabama has won 14 in a row.
In a row?
In a row. Yep.
Wow.
Exactly. That's how dominating it is. Largest margin of victory for Bama was 59-0 back in 1922. The largest margin of victory for Mississippi State was 29-7 in 2000. You think 14 in a row is big? The longest Alabama winning streak in the series has been 22 games.
Jeez.
From 1958 to 1979.
Jeez. Who was that against? Or is it just
It was
the amount of
against.
times they won consecutively?
They won 22 in a row. Yes, against
Wow.
Mississippi State, back to back to back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just against Mississippi.
Right. Yep. Exactly. And then Mississippi State's longest winning streak against Alabama has been 3 games from 1912 to 1914.
Hmm.
The first game in this series occurred back in November 14th, 1896. It
Jeez.
shows you the history of football in the South. It really goes back a long, long ways. And
Oh yeah.
Alabama won that game 20-0. I'd be shocked if somebody said they saw this game. These 1890 games.
Yeah.
Well, Mississippi
You
State.
never know. There might be a few people kicking around.
Yeah, well, maybe somewhere in the ghostly world in Fortnite, possibly, but who knows?
I've yet to play that.
Oh man, it's an interesting season. They kind of combine things. I just can't stand the horde. I just the horde rush is just too much for
Are
me.
the Scythes back?
In the horde rush, I believe that they are, but
Good.
I haven't
those.
played horde rush. You'd have to look at that.
Are they not in the main game?
I have not seen them in the main game yet,
Oh man.
and even in the little haunted areas, I've not seen them either. So, but hey, you never know. They might add them before it's over. You never know.
Mm.
So Mississippi State comes in 5-2 with wins over Memphis, Arizona, Bowling Green, Texas A&M, and Arkansas. Sorry, with losses against LSU and Kentucky. Bama has won all but one with wins over Utah. They pulled out the game on the road at Texas, Louisiana Monroe, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, and Texas A&M, and the loss last week at Tennessee. So, and as I was saying earlier, this is a big game for Mississippi State to stay in contention for the Western Division title with 2 losses already. A third loss in the conference would pretty much eliminate them. Alabama with 1 loss, if Mississippi State could beat them, Mississippi State would have the advantage because they won the head-to-head matchup. So, that's about it, Ish. I mean, I'll hold off till we show the picks because I've got something I think that's going to happen with this game because it'll go towards the pick. But you got any thoughts on that?
No, not really. I think you about covered all the main stuff.
All right, which gets us to last game when we preview, and then we'll get to the picks. Texas A&M and South Carolina. A&M has won all 8 matchups. This streak started in 2014 to 2021 when A&M joined the SEC in 2012, but they don't play every year because A&M is in the Western Division and is not the common annual opponent to the East. So that's why you may have a long time in there, but it's they don't play every year. The largest margin of A&M's victory over South Carolina is 48-3 back in 2020. And the first matchup was August of 2014. A&M won that game 52-28. And coming into the game, A&M is 3-3 with wins over Sam Houston, Miami, Arkansas, but losses against Appalachian State, Mississippi State, and a heartbreaking loss at Alabama. South Carolina is 4-2 with wins over Georgia State, Charlotte, South Carolina State, Kentucky, and losses to Arkansas and Georgia. I know that that's overwhelming and all, but you know a lot about those teams, Ash. So what's your opinion?
Well, actually, I think it's going to go really well for all the teams, and then every game is going to be a draw. And no, I have no idea, mate.
Yeah. Hey there, small time Republic. Glad you made it in. Shane Rivers turned out to be a good hire at South Carolina. Yes, he has been solid. See, they're give them a few more years. I think get some more talent in there. They'll be even better there. I fear as a Gator fan that the Gators are going to fall behind South Carolina now. Could that be 4 teams that they're behind? But you never know. Maybe things will get better in Gainesville. But that's a great point because Shane Beamer had a reputation. His father was a coach at Virginia Tech for a long time. And South Carolina has had a long football tradition too, over the years, and some great players, great teams over the years. Even Florida's famous Steve Spurrier, the Heisman winning quarterback from the 60s, and who was the head ball coach there for many great years, he ended up his coaching career at South Carolina. So, and let's see, a recruiter. Yep, exactly. He's famous for recruiting. The question is, like I always have with these, with the coaches that are good recruiters, how do they manage an in-game situation, time management, and things like that, manage timeouts, personnel, play calling, stuff like that, because I got my concerns in Gainesville with a guy that's supposed to be a great recruiter when it comes to calling a game and managing his time. Several instances this year that I think the Gators have not been efficient with their time, and the play calls have been interesting, where you're not utilizing a running quarterback to his maximum. So, but it all happens because, like you said here, Dabo Sweeney from Clemson is known as a great recruiter, but look at what he's done. He's won a national championship, and his team's almost every year in the playoffs. So, it can be done. I think a lot of it's if you have a good coaching staff with you. I mean, heck, Ed Orgeron won a national title. So, Ash, I'm sure all that was great to you right there, buddy. But hey,
absolutely made 100% sense.
That's good. That's good. But good to see a small town republic. The status of our picks now with me and the guests. Last week, the great Clobber and Times won the picks at 4-2. I was at break even at 3-3, but overall I'm 53-15, and our guests are 45-23. 8-game advantage at this point, and you can see all our previous guests. Mrs. Dadman walking. Everybody's had it, and you stay with it. If you're around, Ash is going to be given time to speak about his methodology.
Oh boy.
Get ready for it. If you're a nerd, if you geek for
there's spreadsheets and numbers.
And it's like, where's Mark D with a C? But yeah, hey,
yeah,
it's coming. But see, Mrs. Dadman walking had a point system based on uniforms, bands, fights, all kinds of stuff. Squeak Mouse had the power of cheese on her side. And you know what, Ash? She only lost to me by one game.
Oh, wow.
If the
power of cheese compels us.
Well, if the cheese had gone with Georgia instead of Samford, we would have tied. But hey,
wow.
the cheese got 2 games I didn't get right. So, hey, don't question the cheese. Marty with a C came in like you as an engineer. Very authentic, very professional, very analytic. He went 12-0 that week.
Oh, wow.
And he's not shy to tell you about that. Go watch his shows sometimes. He loves that. We had the Great Culture Casino on with a wonderful talk. I came up with 3 other topics for other streams down the road that like, oh gosh, what do we do with this? When do we do it? So, and we had, you got the Brits view of football tonight. But a couple weeks ago, we had a great Rambling Canuck, and you had a great Canadian's perspective of it, telling us all about the differences between Canadian football and American football. Ash, if you get a chance, you ought to go back and watch that one a little bit to see how they play football versus us. The fields are different. The scoring's a little different. It really was kind of cool. And really, with that episode, I'll tell y'all, go back and watch some of the videos before in the past. Even if you skip the football stuff and the stats, watch the interview spots, people life experiences, and some really good memories and thoughts and stuff with all of these guests that we've had. And
so it's like American football, rugby, and Canadian football is like the trifecta of similar sports.
Very similar in a lot of ways. But see, what was cool with Canuck, he showed video of his son playing high school football. That was really, really cool.
Oh yeah.
And then we had the awesome Gen X last week, who Gen X is scheduled to be our guest next week because next week is the Florida-Georgia game.
Hey.
And I got to have a Bulldog on for that one. So, hey. But that's where we are with this. So let me make sure. Let me do something real quick. Okay. Just make sure. All righty. Here we go to the 5 games this week.
Okay.
Ash? I will be quiet. We'll listen to his methodology. I thought about that too. I thought that would be fun, but yeah. Okay,
Who won
Ash.
the UT?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's the last game now. Now, do
Small
you want
time.
me to
All
show
I'll
you?
say to that is
Yeah,
no.
yeah. There you go. Do you want me to show you the pick first, or and then you explain your methodology, or do you want to explain the methodology?
If you show the picks first and then I'll explain it, because if I show up the spreadsheet, it'll just say everything anyway.
All right, here we go. The first game, Ash picks Alabama.
Sweet home Alabama. And technically, it wasn't me; it was the dice gods. You'll be
Oh
finding
yes,
out what I
yes,
mean
yes.
in a bit.
Well, do you want to go ahead and show it now, or with this one?
We'll go through all of them and then I'll show it
Okay,
after.
okay. Well, he's teased it. The dice gods. Okay. So then the next game we got. My pick is Alabama. What I wanted to say about this game is usually when the big guys get kicked like they did last week, they come back ferocious, and I'd expect this to be a bloody, ugly game with Mississippi State on the road at Alabama. I think it's going to be ugly, and Alabama's going to run away with it really, really quickly, being at home. With the offensive production, and Mississippi State couldn't score on Kentucky last week, even though they have a good defense. You're not going to, there's a lot of questions about the air raid offense, how good it is against real good teams. So the next matchup, we have Ole Miss at LSU, and Ash takes LSU. A very interesting pick there. And not a bad
dice
pick.
compels us.
Paradise compels you. But see, I'll say honestly, Ash, I think your picks all this week turned out really good. There's not any that I would have cringed at. This one is probably the one that I would cringe the most at. But then again, LSU's at home. They hate Ole Miss. Hobby can tell you about that a lot. And the show, he did talk about that rivalry a lot, especially at home. But I'm going with Ole Miss to stay undefeated. They got a lot to play for to stay on the road to keep challenging Alabama. All right, the battle of the bottom of the SEC East. The big question in this game is, can Vanderbilt finally win a SEC conference game? It's been 2 years. They've won 3 games this year, more than they've won the last couple seasons. So in this game, Ash takes Missouri.
Hey, I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but there you go.
Poor Missouri. Poor Vanderbilt. Poor Vanderbilt. Let's see what he's got here. Alabama, LSU, Vanderbilt. Well, hey, participate. Yeah, if y'all want to pick the games in there, pick who you think. That's awesome. Those are not bad picks either. I mean, we got solid games this week, but this game comes down to this too. Who sucks less? But in this one, there's a lot playing on it. And so what's sad though is this game should be played this year. Would have been great if it was in Vanderbilt, up in Nashville, Tennessee, because I do think that Vanderbilt's going to treat its fans, and it's going to be sad that they will get their probably their only conference win on the road. Although, as a Gator fan, I don't trust the Gators to go up there and beat Vanderbilt. If Vanderbilt is competent in a few weeks when they have to play Vanderbilt, I believe Florida is on the road with that game. Not that I call for the upset, but Florida has struggled going up there many, many times with very good teams. So, but this week, I'm saying Vanderbilt gets his first conference win in 2 years. So then we go to Texas A&M, who Ash has taken the road team against South Carolina. I'm going to go with the homestanding Gamecocks. I'm not really impressed with Spencer Rattler at quarterback, but Beamer's a good coach. They're playing at home. A&M has struggled massively on offense to score points this year. Go on the road. South Carolina has a pretty good defense. I don't see A&M doing it again. And Texas A&M was a team picked to finish second behind Alabama in the West. They were, or even to challenge Alabama for the SEC West championship this year, but they've fallen on hard times. So as you could see from the standings earlier, which leads us to this final game. Sounds like dating like checklist, but in reverse. Okay, thank you, CJ. Always CJ for a good post here. All right, so who called for UT Martin? Well, Esh didn't. Take some volunteers at home. Yeah, and that's going to be this is what Ash. Sometimes some of us call these paycheck games,
Right.
Which
Yeah,
is
I've heard you use that term before.
You've heard it before. Yeah, they basically the team comes in to get sacrificed for a big paycheck for the school. So anyway, not to beat a dead horse, not to drag this out, because the biggest thing we're going to have to listen to tonight is the master himself with his spreadsheet, Esh, and the presentation on his picks. So I am going to take Tennessee also. What is unique about this week, though, we only agree on 2 games.
Yeah.
This is a rare one. Every other week, it's been like maybe 1 or 2 games where we disagreed on with people. We've disagreed on 3. And like I said earlier, Ash, I don't cringe at any of those picks. Any of those that we disagree could happen. If I had to pick a cringe one, I just don't think LSU's as good as their record is. They just play bad teams. Are teams with a lot of flaws in them, but it's still a good pick. It could happen. It's a rivalry game. You never know what happens. But anyway, I will be quiet. Ash, you have the floor. You bring it up, and then I'll see if I can figure out how to share it. So,
1 second. Window share. There we go. I shared my screen with you. So here we have it, guys. This is my my spreadsheet of decisions. Well, when I say the dice gods, oh shit, I'm supposed to. Let me just fix that. Yeah. So basically, it really wasn't up to me. It was so I took a set of regular D&D polyhedral dice and I rolled them multiple times. So let's take the D4 dice, for example. So this is game 1, Mississippi State, Alabama. And then so a D4 dice I rolled 3 times because as a scientist, scientists would want to repeat their results to get accurate data. So what I did was each dice I rolled 3 times, and then I took an average of those 3 rolls. So that's why we have like 2.3 recurring there. So I did that for all the different types of dice. So we've got D6, D8, D10, D12, and D20. And then what I did was to the final score. I took the sum of all of these averages. So for those that aren't familiar with mathematical terms, the sum is just adding them all together. And the average is just adding all the values up and dividing them by how many values there are. So I did that. So for Mississippi State, the value was 30.3333. So I did the exact same thing for all 10 teams. And as you can see in red, Mississippi State, and the higher value for Alabama was I marked in green. So Alabama, the dice spoke to me, and they said Alabama was going to win this game. So it's really up to the dice gods. RNG, Jesus is smiling upon Alabama.
And you need a Notre Dame game for a reference like that.
Yeah, so there's like 180 dice rolls for this.
Wait, per game?
No. So in total, altogether,
okay.
Because that's 3 rolls per dice, and there's 6 rolls. So that's 18 rolls per team, and there's 10 teams, so 180 rolls in total.
Wow.
So that is what I call dedication. But wow. Yeah.
So it's hard for me to see. I'm not sure on the stream how well it's coming through, but like pick one of the games, like the first game. What was the difference in some of these points? Were they close?
Let me see if I can zoom in a bit. 1 second. Can I? Why won't it let me I should be able to zoom in. 1 second. Let me try. There we go. Can you see the numbers better?
Yeah, I can see it better. Let's 35.333 and 30.333. Yeah.
There we go. So yeah, so basically, let me do this like that. So, like I said, game one, I've got the two teams here and here, and then roll 1, 2, and 3. The average, these are just like table titles if you're familiar with mathematics and statistics. And then we've got the names of the different dice, total, the final total, average. So it'd be these across. So if you're familiar with Excel and how Excel works, you can see the actual the what we're doing up here. So it's an average code, and that we label the cells. So the cells are just the boxes. So oh shit, there we go. I don't want to like just. I mean, I've already said who's going to win. So, but like the cool thing is, the cool thing with Excel is, let's say this is instead of 4, it's going to be 5. So now it's going to automatically adjust this average and then automatically adjust this total, because this is just saying an average of these 3 cells, no matter what the value is, and then this is the sum of all these cells. So if I undo that,
I'm going to show you something real quick, Ash. There. Yes, I love Excel. Yes. I got people that work for me that insist on punching numbers up, and it's like, why? Let the formula build the formulas. It's a powerful tool. Anyway, go ahead. They don't want to hear me. They want to hear you now.
Yeah. So, like I said, so there's 18 roles per team, and then I did the exact same thing for each team, and that's what helped me to determine which team won. So, one like side note is, it's also a good tell to see how well I roll the dice anyway. So on each of these dice, the number designates how many sides of the dice, but it's also the highest number you can get on the dice, because that's how many sides there are. And so it's like how many times I can roll a 20. So so stuff like that is very useful when playing tabletop role-playing games. So it's like dice rolling accuracy. So like I worked it out, and it was like I think it was 14. So just taking the D20 rolls, for example, there's three rolls per team, 6 rolls per game, 5 games. That's 30 D20 rolls. So out of 30 D20 rolls, 14 of them were at a number 15 or above. So nearly 50% of my D20 rolls are very good. So basically, with my dice set, I'm very good at rolling D20s.
Hey, listen, people say that sports can't be geek or nerd, but this is type of stuff that you can make it geeky or nerd and have some fun with it.
Absolutely.
Oh, my gosh.
It's literally just chance. I mean, I could literally have just flipped a coin a bunch of times and done the exact same thing. But what I liked about this method is each dice is different. So D4, 4 sides, 6 sides, 8, 10, 12, 20. I mean, there is a percentage dice, but I didn't use that for this one. I just used the standard set of polyhedral dice.
Absolutely. This is fascinating. Which was the closest game, though?
30, 35, 27, 36, 34, 38. I'd say maybe Vanderbilt and Missouri.
Wow.
They're four units apart. Numbers
That's
apart.
pretty appropriate, I think.
32, 41. No. Tennessee is quite a wide lead.
Yep.
Texas A&M is a large lead. I'd say Vanderbilt and Missouri is the closest game.
Okay.
27-36. LSU's leading by a huge margin here.
Yeah.
And then I'd say the next closest game is Mississippi State and Alabama, because we've got 30 and 35. So that's 5 points apart.
Well, we'll have to see how the games play out, Yeah. And see if the game, how the dice did, I mean, in terms of closeness or competitiveness of the game.
this method works out, and I can consistently predict all the teams multiple weeks in a row, I'm going to be making a lot of money.
Well, I tell you what. Here's the deal: when the games are done playing, I do a recap show. You can get
Yeah.
or I'll send you the recap. I'll send you the results of the games, and then that way you can compare them however you want to
Oh yeah.
the prediction. And if you want to,
Oh yeah.
and I
I
tell you,
wonder how the
if you find something
scores.
interesting with it, I'll bring you back on just specially to talk about that statistically.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. I mean, I wonder how the scores are going to match up because, like, I've
Yeah.
seen on some of them, on some of the games you've shown, it's like the scores are some like less than 10 or less than 20, and or like this one is 27, but the rest are like over 30. So I wonder like how close these dice have predicted the score of the actual game.
I am too. I am too. So I'll get you the scores when they're over to see
Yeah.
if there's any if you can find any type of connection or correlation. That would be interesting to see.
Yeah.
But that's
Absolutely.
awesome, Ash. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Of
That is
course.
definitely unique. It's a shame RD with Steve's not here. Hopefully he watches the replay because I'm sure he'd be all over this with those spreadsheets.
It's a lot of numbers and statistics, but unfortunately, it's no cheese. I can't eat it at the end. So,
yeah, exactly. It's not tasty like cheese and stuff. So,
yeah.
or
I mean,
even,
I could technically eat it. I put this document into an SD card, and I swallowed the SD card, the micro
I
SD
thought you
card.
were going to swallow the dice, but anyway, that's.
Oh no, my dice that I've got are metal dice.
Oh gosh, they won't biodegrade inside you. Okay.
Well, even just the plastic ones. I wonder if you can get biodegradable dice. I'm pretty sure you can get like edible dice. It's like
here,
like edible dice. Like if kids get a hold of the dice.
Well, the missus has an idea that you could print and eat the paper.
Yeah, could do.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah, I just see. There's.
Why would you want edible dice? Why wouldn't you want edible dice?
Nobody gives us a wedgie. I think this is fascinating from numbers. Mrs. hopes the dice gods are good to you. Exactly. I do this. Hey, I know averages, but this was something different. This was beyond just averages. This was a statistical analysis that it cost you a lot of money if you paid for on the outside.
Yeah.
It's
like yes, I'm essentially explaining what an average is to an accountant, but like for those that maybe watch this that don't know what an average is or don't know what a sum means, so it's good to explain for all kinds of viewers, really.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Wow, Ash, that was fascinating.
I'm glad you enjoyed.
Mrs. said I saw a dice creator who made dice that looked like various cheese. Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah. And then Daisy's saying that black licorice dice, yum. Why not? You can do anything with this stuff, why not make them
the
out
only
of food?
Downside of edible dice would be like when you're playing a role-playing game and you're throwing the dice, it'd be so hard not to be tempted to just like pick the dice up and just eat it, and then you're like, oh crap, we need that dice.
Oh, too late.
I suppose maybe if it's licorice, or like some boiled sweet or hard sweet, or like a jawbreaker in the shape of a dice, then maybe you could eat the dice, and then when you need to roll it, just take it out, roll it, and put it back in your mouth.
Oh, I know that's a hoot. That is a hoot. But yeah. Yeah, that is a hoot. So, hey, well, you got anything else to say, Ash? Because if not, then
no. Apart from that, not really. I'm like I said, I'm eager to find out what the actual scores will be. Like I said, this is pure. These decisions are purely based on chance, and it's the most accurate average I could essentially get with these. Like essentially chance. Like I said, it's almost like flipping a coin a bunch of times, and adding the results together essentially.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
This is just more a convoluted way of doing that.
Absolutely. Well, like I said, I'll get you the results, and then you can go through your
Absolutely.
professional analysis at that point. Well, do you want to say anything? Any last final comments or say what you're doing? I mean, it's before I close this up.
Not really. I mean, you can find me on Saturday nights on the T-shirt Historians channel, or but that's really the only consistent show that I'm doing. I'll try and pop on your channel as often as I can, and any other channel when as soon as I'm available to. Really, like I said, my schedule's got so much more busy. But
Yeah.
other than that, like don't forget to subscribe to Dadman. He's a great guy, and he's got a lot of interesting insights to give. So
Thank
go
you.
give him a like and a follow.
Yes,
And
we hit 50 on the Twitch side.
hell yeah,
Yeah,
congratulations!
thanks. Yeah, the YouTube side. Mark wants me to get to 100 because I guess there's a you get a custom identifier or something instead of
Yeah,
that
custom
busy thing.
URL when you're 100
Yeah,
subs.
yeah. So
YouTube.
hopefully we get that soon and get to there because I don't know what they're talking about, but I'm like, okay, if it sounds cool, I like the number 100. It works for me, so we're good.
Yeah,
But thanks, Ash. Thanks for being here, and
thank you for having me.
yes,
It's been a lot of
absolutely.
fun.
And Sing, it's Sing One is your channel though, right?
It's just Esh Singh on YouTube, but
Yeah.
Esh Singh One is my Twitter handle.
We'll go ahead, yeah, and go ahead, bring up back up your channel icon real quick
Yes, there
because
we
this is
go.
how you know that's the right Esh Sing because I think there are others out there, but it's
Yep,
just Esh. So go at least subscribe and he'll get back on the rodeo at some point, and
at
it's
some
always
point,
good. So absolutely. Well, I'm going to set you to the back. Wait for a minute, and I'm going to
of course.
take us out. So
Take
hey.
care, everyone.
Yes, and yes, it was very fun. It's really fascinating what Ash had done there with those numbers, and it's not just basic math. That was really statistical, and I can't wait to see the comparison of the dice scores to the final scores of the games. Hopefully, it works out. There's something connection that can be made with it. It'd be very very eerie, really really would. So on that note, let us go look forward to what's coming down the line for football. Oops, let me get this off. Say, next week's show will also be at Friday at 7 p.m. Our scheduled guest is the great Gen X, who's a returning guest, and we will be talking, SEC football, but specifically, I want to talk about Florida, Georgia. It's lost its luster with Florida going in the tank already, but it's one of those hated rivalry games that you can still have a lot of fun with a lot of history. So join us for that coming up next Friday. As I said earlier, I'm planning to run a late night Fortnite stream tonight over on the YouTube channel with a bunch of friends. Normally on Fridays I stream with Mark D with a C, but he's not available tonight, so I'm bringing it over to my channel and we'll stay up late tonight, have crazy time, and do some destruction and property damage in the virtual world, and have fun with it. The game over here on YouTube. Saturday morning I'll try to do a brief recap of tonight's show, and then on Sunday hope to do a little more in-depth review show like we did last week, and then there's a possibility of a second stream on Sunday, but I'm trying to get things confirmed for that of a different nature of a show and tell. So like everything else, watch my Twitter account, Dadman Walking 55 for the latest, where we'll definitely post what we're going to do if something impromptu comes up, but hey, you never know. Get a wild hair, go live sometimes, especially when you've got Fortnite and some other special things that you can do along the way. Follow us over at twitch.tv. Like I said, we hit 50 followers. Let's keep going. Let's grow that. Hey, Orange, man. Hey, thank you for coming by, stopping by. Hey, thank you, sir. Thank you, Ords. Hey, wow, it's Courtney. Hey, great to see you too. Wow, thank y'all we're at the end, but definitely go back and watch the show because to let you know, coming in late at the end, go back, and if all you watch is the part where Esh explains his methodology for picking the winners this week using D&D dice, I can't even halfway even attempt to try to explain it. But go back, watch it. It is fascinating, and we'll have to see how the dice predict the scores too going forward. So but definitely go check it back out. Yeah, football and pizza. I did that last week. We had plenty of pizza with our football. It's a wonderful combination. So on that note, like I said, on Twitch, follow us over there. Here on the YouTube side, let's get us to 100 on the YouTube side for the get that custom URL. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, and share it with your friends. Get it out there, and we'll just keep going. But at the end of the day, the purpose of the channel, we're having fun together. We're friends having together, shooting the bull about some football, and and some great stories. Yes, thank you, Daisy. All of our guests this year have been just amazing in one way or another in their own different ways. Every week it's been something different. Actually, even though I'm a numbers guy, blown away about this today with this presentation. Just very fascinating. And let's see. Thank you. Yes, always share. Yes, thank you. Get whatever you can out. And like one thing that I want to also too is we don't just do sports here. We've got some show and tell videos that are on the channel. We do some gaming with Fortnite and other things. And eventually down the road, I want to get into more history things. But as I learned starting the streaming is when you hear YouTube creators or streamers talk about they don't have enough time in the day or they forget things because they're so busy, it's true. I mean, really, the amount of time it's sometimes to take some of these shows, because I tell you what, I am only here, thankfully, through the love and help of support of this one person here. I've got others that help me in a lot of the ways behind the scenes, but without Mrs. Dadman walking every week, putting these slides together and, getting the pics from everybody, putting them in, doing the graphics for everything, this would not be possible. Or it'd just be sit here, listen to me and watch the radio thing kind of blabbing back and forth. But love you, honey. Thank you for all you do here. And, it would not be possible without your hard work there. So on that note, I will say good night. Hope to see you around next time. Watch Twitter for when we go live again. But tonight, plan on a late night Fortnite stream, and really would like to see you there. And tell your friends and just come harass us in the chat while we blow stuff up. And well, I'll let CJ say it on the stream later of what he likes to do with playing Fortnite and everybody else. So on that note, good night, everybody. Good morning, wherever you are. Like in Ash's case, thank you for being here. Like, share, subscribe, follow, whatever whichever format you're at. Thank you again, and talk to you next time. Bye.